So this is Mr. Tran with the calculator section of the practice park. So we are on this calculator section, and we're going to go ahead and click Start Section. A 4.5-ounce hamburger patty has 25.5 grams of protein, and 6 ounces of fish has 32 grams of protein. Determine the grams of protein per ounce for each type of food. Select the drop-down menus to correctly complete each statement. So all you really have to do is take 25.5 grams of protein for the hamburger and divide it by 4. Obviously, with this section, you can actually access the calculator button over here, the 5-function calculator, and just put it in. We're going to put 25.5, which is 25.5, divided by 4.5, and we should get the answer of 5.6, which is close to 5.7. So we're going to go ahead and choose 5.7. For the other question, 32 grams of protein for 6 ounces of fish, we're going to take 32 and divide it by 6 for the fish, and we'll get 5.3. Let's go ahead and select 5.3. When you're done with the 5-function calculator, you can go ahead and close it and then click the next button. A right triangle has legs measuring 4.5 meters and 1.5 meters. The length of the legs of the second triangle are proportional to the length of the legs of the first triangle. What would be the lengths of the leg of the second triangle? Select each correct pair of lengths. Well, in order for you to be effective with this section, you gotta figure out the idea that if they are proportional to each other, they must have a relationship. I'm going to take 4.5 and divide it by 1.5. And I'll see that the relationship is 3. So basically, if I divide each of these numbers by each other, I should get the number 3. So let's take the first one. Clearly, 6 divided by 2 will get me 3. So answer choice A is going to work. If I do clear 8 divided by 5, 1.6, nope, doesn't work. 7 divided by 3.5. Does it work? Gives me 2, not close enough. I'll do 10 divided by 2.5. That gives me 4, close but not good enough. And lastly, 11.25 divided by 3.75. That gets me a relationship of 3, so it's got to be both answer choice A and E. It was a multiple select question, so let's go ahead and click on the next answer. Rebecca and Megan are shopping at a store that sells jewelry, scarves, and purses. The cost of all items at the store include tax. Rebecca buys some scarves that cost $5 each and 2 purses that cost $12 each. The cost of Rebecca's total purchase is $39. Write an equation that can be used to find n, the number of scarves that Rebecca buys. Drag and drop the appropriate variable or number into each box. For this section, it's kind of important if you use the highlighter tool. It says she bought some scarves for $5 each, so I'm going to highlight that in yellow. And then for the other section, 2 purses that cost $12 each. Let's highlight it in pink. These are really important. Let's get started. The cost of her total purchase was $39, so I'm looking at this equation here. I'm going to click 39 and drag it down to the past the equal sign because I know the total cost was $39. Now, if she bought some scarves that cost $5 each, I'm going to bring down the 5 for the $5 each, and then n because we don't know the number of scarves. For the pink section, 2 purses that cost $12 each, well, you can do the math in your head. 2 times 12. It's going to give us 24. Don't select the distractor, which would have been 12. So this would have been our correct final answer. 5 times n plus 24 is equal to 39. On to section B. Megan buys 3 bracelets and 3 necklaces. Each bracelet costs $5. She pays $40 and gets $4 change. What is the cost in dollars of 1 necklace? Answer your answer in the box. Note they don't give you the equation. You got to figure this out for yourself. We know that she definitely paid $40, so that's our end goal. So I'm just going to bring up what the equation is going to look like and break it down for you guys. So here's the equation right here. She bought 3 bracelets for $5, so that's why we have 3 times 5, plus 3 times x. The reason why we have x is because we don't know how many necklaces she bought, right? Well, we do know how many necklaces she bought, but we don't know the price of it. And also, she got $4 back as change. Now, if we work through this, we'll see that If we solve for and did 3 times 5, we'll get 15 plus 3x plus 4 equals 40. And then we'll just combine like terms on the left-hand side. We'll get 19 plus 3x equals 40. And then when we do river and inverse, we'll get 3x is equal to 21. And when we divide by 3, we'll get x is equal to 7. So I'm going to put my answer here as $7. Note you don't need to sign. All you have to do is type in the number 7. What is the cost in dollars of one necklace? The answer is just 7. Yes. So with that said, I'm just going to click next. In order for a teacher surveyed students in 4 classes to determine the location for a field trip, each student chose only one location. The table shows the number of students from each class who chose each location. Part A, determine the percent of students in each class who chose the museum. What is the order from greatest to least of the percents for each class? This is a drag and drop case. In order to really answer this, you got to think about 2 things. First, let's highlight the word museum, and the other word is percent. So we're only looking at the museum's column, and then in order to figure out the percent, you basically have to do add all of these numbers up for class E and take 9 and divide it by let's see, 27. And if you did the math, if you do 9 divided by 27, you should get 33% for class E. If you take 11 and divide it by 36 total students in class F, you will get 36%. If you do 8 divided by a total of 25 scholars, you'll get 32%. And lastly, 10 divided by a total of 24 scholars, you get 41%. So according to what I just said, class H with 41% would be the greatest. Class F with 36% would be the second greatest. Class E would have 33%, and Class G would have 32%. And that's our answer right there. Next, the question B says the total number of students who chose the zoo is how many times as great as the total number of students who chose the planetarium. Enter your answer in the space provided. Enter only your answer. So in order to answer this question, we have to look at basically the zoo, the total number, and the planetarium. You have to add up the total number of scholars who chose a zoo, and that would have been 36. The total number of scholars who chose the planetarium was 32. So in your head, 36 minus 32 would have given you 4 scholars, and that would have been the answer. Once you have that, you can click next. Chris made at least one error as she found the value of this expression. So this is a classic order of operations expression. Let's take a look at step 1. So far this repeated. We're basically looking to see if this gets you negative 25. If you do 5 times negative 20, that would have given you negative 100 divided by 4, negative 25. So far, that's good. Over here, 2 times 50 is 100 divided by 5 should have given you 20. So step 1 is good. Step 2, I see a lot of numbers moving around. I think Chris made her first error on step 2. She's trying to use the distributive property, but that's the wrong time for her to be using the distributive property. So I'm just going to type this in. Chris made her first error during step 2. She was trying to use the distributive property in the wrong way. Alright, it says enter the identified step, your work, and the final answer in the space provided. So we're going to start from step 1 and work our way to step 2 in the correct fashion. 2 times negative 20 would have given us a negative 40. 3 times negative 25 would have given me a negative 75. 5 times 20 would have given me 100. And 4 times 50 would have given me 200. Step 3 would have been just adding. You could combine the negative numbers first. So negative 40 plus negative 75 would have given us negative 105. And 100 plus 200 would have given me 300. And lastly, step 4 would have been just adding the final total. So negative 105 plus 195 would have given you, and we can always use the calculator function right here. You could enter 105 as a negative number. and then you add that to 300 to get your answer of 195, and then click the next button. Here's our last question. Point P is plotted on the number line. Here it is. It looks like it's about 2.5. Point Q is the opposite of point P. Determine the location of point Q on the number line. Explain how you determine the location of point Q on the number line. Basically, enter your answer and your explanation. So we're going to say point Q is at negative 2.5. How did we know this? We know this because the value of P is at 2.5, and the inverse or opposite of 2.5 must be negative 2.5. There we go. Let's take a look at this. Point S is located at 5/4 on the number line. A student claims that the location of point S is to the right of point P on the number line. Explain whether the student's claim is correct or incorrect. Write an inequality that describes the relationship between the value of point P and the value of point S. Well, let's handle the first question, which is whether point S is to the right of point P. We know it can't be the case because if you did, let's bring up the calculator, we do 5 divided by 4 or 5/4, you'll get 1.25, which should be somewhere over here. So let's actually go ahead and write that in. The student's claim is incorrect because let's use this fraction button and type in 5, click this over 4, because 5/4 is equal to 1.25, which is to the left of point P. Once you type that, you can answer the other question, enter your explanation, and your inequality. Well, we know that point S is to the left, and therefore it's going to be less than point P. So all I did was typed in the less than sign, less than symbol, and actually I should erase this and put point at, right, oops. Point S less than point P. Once I'm done with that, I'm just going to type click next.